Welcome back to my channel. My name is Egwin. There haven't been a lot of updates lately because I've been involved in many new projects and new things are developing. It's really great and I'm really excited about these great times. Now, finally, I'm opening up one of our chapters concerning the feet and our walking again. And this time, I'm finally going to talk about one very big thing where there is constant discussion out in the world of professionals as well as just movement enthusiasts, and that is how exactly should a human walk? Should one walk using a heel stroke, a midfoot or forefoot stroke? That's a very big question right now. There are many different opinions out there, and what I'm going to do now is give you an overview of how one has to look at this question. One has to look at the body or our whole being in order to be able to answer this question properly. As you all know by now, I'm not such a big fan of opinions that are very dogmatic. So whenever someone comes up with a new idea and says, that's exactly how it should be done and everything else is BS, well, I'm always trying to check such a strict statement. And most of the time, especially in the fitness, wellness industry, or whenever it concerns human movement or human development, you'll see a pattern, and every 5 to 10 years some new opinion emerges and is 100% certain that everything that has come before is wrong or at least not optimal. Now what we are going to do is we are going to discuss the stroke, the foot stroke, so how your foot actually has to land on the ground in order for it to be healthy and sustainable for the body. To start with, let me ask you one question. Where do you walk normally? Well, at the very least on concrete paths or on a flat surface somewhere in your house, in your apartment, at work, on your way to work. Sure as hell, you also use stairs, either going up or downstairs, and still many people, luckily, also are outdoors. So sometimes you also walk through the woods, sometimes once again a flat surface, sometimes like this path behind me, a little bit uneven, so you walk up, you walk down. The next big question is, how do you walk? Meaning, which tools do you use to walk? Do you use your feet only? Or do you use shoes? And if you use shoes, which type of shoes do you use? Do you use running shoes? Do you use high heels? Do you use minimal shoes? What type of shoe do you use? And now you can answer all that for yourself. And now comes the final and most important question. Do you honestly believe that all those different situations, all those different tools used in those different situations require the same body mechanics, require the same biomechanical aspect of your foot touching the ground whenever we move? The answer is no, they don't. And there is one more important aspect here, also something that gets mixed up all the time. Many people nowadays, especially in the professional community, they say, well, there have been a lot of studies right now that forefoot running is the most efficient, energy efficient way, because there is one tribe of runners that come from Kenya. Those people who come from that tribe in Kenya, they are actually the best runners out there in the world currently. And they all run on the ball of the foot, or at least they use a midfoot or front foot stroke. Well, there is a shocker maybe. The point is, you can biomechanically, you cannot compare running to walking. While looking rather similar, the forces that are present in walking compared to running are completely different. Because your body has a lot more forward momentum in running than in walking, the biomechanics of the body, the whole path the foot can take, the whole leg can use its joints, is completely different than with less forward momentum like you'll have in walking. So now in this video we're simply talking about walking. Also, all the things that I've talked about in the How to Walk Correctly tutorial series up until now, those are specific aspects that have to do with walking. Till now, there are still parts of a proper step missing that we'll still have to discuss, and I'll bring up those videos in the very near future. But let's get back to this one. We're talking about walking right now. The best option, the best way for a human being to walk is to use the barefoot as much as possible. Meaning, the less high heely it is, the less thick the sole is, the more reduced and minimalistic the shoe is, the better. If your surrounding allows it, and if the temperature allows it, make sure to walk barefoot, but start slowly and learn to walk barefoot. There's going to be a separate video for that as well. Now let's get back to heel stroke, midfoot and front foot stroke. Actually, to put it in one sentence, throughout our regular day, we need all of those stepping methods in order to be most efficient in our walking. A heel stroke, many people nowadays say that a heel stroke actually jolts the body, meaning that as soon as your heel hits the ground, you get a jolt through your joints because you land rather hard. There is a thing. Whenever you do a heel stroke, there are at least two different ways to perform it. One is to come down with the heel where a lot of weight is already in your front foot and the whole leg is rather stretched. Now you will have a lot of jolt in the body. You will build up a lot of pressure in the body that transmits through the joints all the way up to the head. But there is another option. A healthy heel stroke means that the foot flies to the front, that your heel touches the ground, and then that the front part of your foot actually flaps to the ground, moves to the ground before your weight shifts completely into it. Actually, the falling down part of the ball of the foot is part of the transitioning aspect of your weight to the front. I'm going to explain that in much more detail in a separate video where I specifically discuss correct heel stroke walking. And remember, I do not say that walking on your heel is the sole correct thing. No, we are going to discuss front foot or midfoot walking in a second. But to put it first, there is a right and a wrong way to use heel stroke. That's for starters. Now, when we talk about mid or forefoot walking, most schools out there nowadays, they promote a midfoot walking, meaning that the ball of your little toe or the outside edge of the foot actually lands first, then the ball of the big toe area lands second, and then the heel comes down. Actually, there are situations when you will use this method of walking. One of those situations is, for instance, if you walk up a very steep hill, then you sure as hell will not walk using your heel first. You'll definitely walk using the front of your foot first. Also, it depends. If you walk down through stones and stuff like that and you do not wear shoes, you'll want to have a tactile approach to where you're stepping rather than just simply going for it in terms of moving down as fast as possible, which would be promoted by walking through your heel. And then again, for running through stones or uneven ground where you do not know whether or not there is something that will hurt your foot, you'll probably also use the front of the foot or the ball of your foot or this midfoot stroke. So one really has to be careful with what is my surrounding situation and what do I want out of this step. Now let me bring up another very important aspect. Walking does something to yourself, meaning that whenever you walk, your awareness shifts according to how you're actually walking. Obviously, there are tribes out there that still live in the jungle, and there is also this term of foxstepping. Foxstepping is actually a front foot type of step that allows you to connect with your surrounding, that allows you to connect with the surface of the earth you're walking on, and that allows you also in terms of your perception to connect with your surroundings in a really good way. And that's exactly what those tribes need in order to move through the woods very silently and very efficiently without hurting themselves. Whenever we walk like that, there is something we need to think about, because if we want to get as efficiently as possible from A to B, we do not need this extreme opening of our perception that almost completely encircles us. What we do need in this situation is a rather biomechanically and energetically, and also from your focus, a rather efficient way to get from A to B. This actually happens with a heel stroke much more efficiently than with a front foot or a midfoot stroke. So not only does the stepping method actually change the way you move biomechanically, it also changes the way you perceive the world. It actually changes the way you are interacting with your immediate surroundings. And that's the point where that is forgotten throughout all these discussions. Because most people, they only focus on how can I reduce the impulses, the jolts that run through my body. But that's the thing. Why would you possibly try to reduce the jolts on your body at all times? One of the most important things that is constantly overlooked is that healthy movement isn't just about reducing impact on the body. It's about being alive, and in order to be alive, you sometimes need a jolt, a stretch, a weird position in order for the body not to degenerate. I'll do a separate video that addresses this issue, that addresses the need of the body to be used. Because this is really important in order for us as a whole to stay alive, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, to be adaptable, to be able to move in literally every way, in literally every aspect of our life. Not just physical movement, but also to move through society, to move through stressful situations, mentally, physically, and energetically alike. let's get back to how to walk correctly. I will do separate videos that address the aspect of correct heel stroke, correct mid or front foot walking, and I'll show you exactly how those have to be done as a whole body movement, because that's what's really important. Walking is a whole body movement, and just to talk about how to place your foot is never enough. That's why this tutorial has so many different videos, and it takes such a long time for this tutorial to be actually made, because it's not just about one aspect. It's not just about how to move your knee correctly, how to counter rotate in walking, like one of my last video updates was. Those are singular aspects that I take out of the whole aspect of the whole body movement that is walking, in order for you to understand better, in order to have more time to focus on one specific aspect. And in the end, I'll bring it all together and I'll talk about how to actually create a flowing, healthy and adaptable movement out of it that we call walking. But that then will be a type of walking that is suitable for everyone and that is suitable for every condition that you might come across, running in the woods as well as walking on concrete paved roads. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. If you like it, make sure to like and subscribe. Also share. I always like to expand a little bit, because I think this knowledge is really important. It's really important for this knowledge to get out and to reach as many people as possible. So I'm happy if you help me with that. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. I'll make sure to answer them as soon as possible. Other than that, make sure to look out for the upcoming videos that address how to walk correctly, aspects of aerial yoga and inversions, aspects of breathing, aspects of the mind-body connection, how to use your consciousness in order to move correctly and live in a healthy and adaptable way. All those things will be there in even more updates than there are already on my channel. So if you're interested in that, subscribe and make sure to stay tuned. Other than that, I wish you a wonderful time and have a great day. Thanks for watching.